And, whoa, look at Magoo. Magoo streaks into the...
Thorpe's got past Gabors. They lock handlebars as they go through, but Thorpe's done.
Here comes Bradshaw to the outside of Bale. He takes over the number 2 position, and Bradshaw is not done.
So, as I stated from the last episode, Mike LaRocco won the final 500 Motocross National Championship before it was discontinued after the 1993 season. And it was somewhat of, I mean, it was only 5 rounds long, so, 10 races, or 10 motos, 5 events. So, I mean, it was legitimate, but it was obvious that AMA was trying to kill the 500 class. From that point on, anybody that loved the 500 motocross racing events at a professional level would have to wait every Thursday for Cycle News to come out to see what was going on in the 500 motocross Grand Prix situation. For all of you that remember, Cycle News would come out every Thursday, and since it was by and large an American publication, all MXGP events were pretty much towards the back of the newspaper, which was multiple pages. It read like a book, and unless an American rider was toward the front of either the 125, 250, or 500 MXGP standings. So not only that, but many 500 MXGP professional racers and champions that were for a decade plus a staple and had a huge fan following had decided to either retire or switch displacement levels. So we're talking about George Jobet, who had just come off of his second consecutive 500 MXGP championship, 3rd overall. He decided to forego racing for as a full-time situation. David Thorpe didn't retire in 93, but he was out of contention due to multiple injuries that he had suffered over recent years. Kurt Nickel, who looked to be a shoo-in after the 1992 season, decided that since the 250 MXGPs were slowly becoming the premier class instead of the 500 class, he decided to, for whatever reason, switch from the 500 MXGP class to the 250 MXGP class. I bet if we had the opportunity to talk to Kurt Nickel today, he would probably say that was one of the biggest regrets of his career, since he would have smoked everybody in 1993 on his KTM 500. In addition to that, Billy Lyles and also ended up moving to the 250 class in 1994. Eric Gabors retired in 1991, and like the people that I just mentioned, Eric Gabors, George Jobet, David Thorpe. I mean, these were guys since like 1985 all the way to through 1992. Those 3 were the only ones to win a 500 world title, and had such a huge following, and still do to this day. Even though Eric Gabors has since passed away, and so has George Jobet, may they both rest in peace. Kurt Nickel still has a huge following. He was runner-up, or as they say in Europe, a vice champion, multiple times in the 500 class. Billy Lyles had a huge following, not only in Europe, but in the United States. All was not lost. A young Swede who looked and rode, had the same stature and rode just like Hakan Karlquist. I mean, he looked like Carla reincarnated. Youngster by the name of Marcus Hansen in 1994, riding for HRC Honda, I believe. He was able to win the MXGP title, the 500 world title, in 1994. And that was the last time a 500 two-stroke full-size big bore would ever win a 500 title. 1994, 22 years, or excuse me, 32 years ago. He was fast. I mean, very fast. And it looked like he was going to be able to hold down or nail down many titles with Honda in the years to come. Unfortunately, an off-season accident, I'm not sure of the details, maybe somebody throw in the details in the comments, and during the 1994 through to the 1995 off-season completely took away his ability to race professionally ever again. Man, he was fast. And I really thought that was going to be the salvation of the 500 two-stroke. I thought that it would come, the popularity would regrow, and things of that nature would happen. But unfortunately, Jackie Martins, who I still hold a grudge against to this day for having taken out Jeff Leask at the beginning of the 1990 500 MXGP season and the first event in Valkenswaard. Not only that, but dude just has the ugliest riding style. But nevertheless, he became the first guy in modern history to win a 500 title on a four-stroke. That obsession with competitive four-strokes began to grow. The four-stroke was originally looked at as a trail bike, a woods bike, a beginner bike, and seeing one competitive, it was really cool to see that. Water cooled, much lighter, much stronger, faster. It had a hit when you ripped that throttle. Trampus Parker came out about a year and a half ago with an interview explaining that he was by far the fastest guy in the 1995 year. There was nobody close. If he got a good start, he was smoking everybody. And I don't say that because I'm an American. I say that because my eyes work. His riding style, his ability to corner, everything. He's just a more talented rider than anybody else on that field. He talked in detail about how KTM purchased Huisberg 2 months before the 500 season started that year, something that nobody intended on. And they were probably up until that point, backing Trampus Parker 100% with the KTM 360 prototype. The nonsense that occurred, how they sabotaged Parker's bike, there are people that were taking him out on the starts, many things that occurred. That I guarantee that if that purchase had not occurred and KTM had not acquired Huisberg 2 months before the season started, Trampus Parker would be the second guy in motocross history to have completed the hat trick of winning a 125, 250, and 500 world title. But reality is that did not occur, and the four-stroke continued to gain popularity, gain momentum. But unless you had some sort of outlier, four-strokes dominated the 500 MXGPs. Now, I will say this, and this is one of the reasons why I always loved Stefan Everts. 1998, the Mercer Citadel 500 MXGP event, Stefan Everts kicked all the four-strokes in the nuts when he had Radisson Honda, the team that he rode for when he won the 250 MXGP title in 97 and 98. He had them make him CR 500 aluminum frame AF, and so you had a CR 500 motor, 1998 motor, and a CR 250 aluminum frame chassis, and that thing was awesome. And because he's Stefan Everts, and because it was a CR 500 with just mega power and a power band as opposed to the four-stroke big bores, Stefan Everts won that thing going away. I put some clips of it in this video, but I think he won the second moto by like 2 minutes. I mean, it was ridiculous how well he did. And I'd say it's a combination of the fact that Stefan Everts, like, let's face it, he is the MXGP GOAT. Nobody can ever, I mean, somebody may break it. Records were meant to be broken. Somebody may break it at some point in the future, 10 titles, but it ain't happening anytime soon. yeah, it was awesome to see that. You had Trampus Parker, who won the Spain round of the 500 MXGP class in 1999 on a KTM 380. You had at the 1997 Motocross of Nations in 1997. Kurt Nickel won the first 500 125 combined event on a KTM 360 as well. Nobody came close to him. So when you had a talented rider on a two-stroke big bore, there was no competition. It was still the fastest bike out there. Yet, like I said, this chapter is called "The Dark Times" for a reason. Mainly because back in the United States, I think it was so in the mid to late '90s, Lance Smell, a privateer but a fast rider out of the Northwest, he was the first pro racer to qualify for a Supercross event on a four-stroke, and he did it on a KTM 620. And at the Las Vegas round, we all know, in 1997, Doug Henry, he won the Supercross at Las Vegas on the YZM 400F. And he competed all throughout 97, 98. Well, Yamaha introduced it in 97 and got a ton of waivers, even though if you were to dissect that bike, take it apart, look at it detailed, there was nothing production about that bike. Even though the production rule had been in effect for 11 years already, that bike was 100% works. And so going up against 250s, and Doug Henry was a talented racer, won multiple titles. And not only did he do well, when it didn't break down, not only did he do well, for instance, at the Las Vegas round of Supercross in 1997, that YZ 400F, it was a great bike. It was cool. It was fun to watch. It was really cool to see a four-stroke go up against those 250s. Now, there was no comparison, like as you see it nowadays. Like you can't put a 252 stroke in the 450 class and expect it to do well. It's just not going to happen. Very few people have that talent. So little by little, the two-stroke was phased out of professional racing, and everybody switched to the four-strokes. This continued to happen and even get stronger. This four-stroke obsession, all the way through the early 2000s, the early, mid, and late aughts of the 2000s, and then something happened in 2012. But I believe 2012 was the first year, and that was the Veterans Motocross of the Nations, held at Farley Castle, and there were only two requirements. You had to be of a certain age. I don't know if it was a requirement to be retired, but many were retired that raced in it, recently retired, recently retired world champions, and you could only run two strokes. So all the two-stroke lovers that were hiding in the closet, they came out for that race, and to this day, it is an awesome, awesome race. And you really get to see, to this day, 500 big bores go up against other 500 big bores. The money and the time they put into restoring these things was great. That kept the 500 two-stroke from actually flatlining, because it was really an afterthought for many years. Not very many people, forget racing them, not very many people were even interested in owning one.